Hey, Danny, how you doing, man?
Cruella de Vil, Cruella de...
I've never quite been sure how to feel about that song, because I don't like it very much, instinctively. But I could not tell you why. There's just something about it that I just think is... I don't know, there's something terrible about it that's impossible to define.
Devilish.
Whoa,
Way.
Beautiful and perfect, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But here we are again, folks, for episode 91 of Shouting Into the Void. And before we get into what we're talking about this week, we have some bullshit, don't we, Lewis?
We do. We have plenty of bullshit. Sorry, I'm fixing my hair again. And we're doing that the entire episode, and viewers are going to be like, oh, why didn't Lewis get a haircut? Yes, sorry, we have got some bullshit.
Yes.
I'm ready. Please, bull my shit.
I'll bill your shit, don't you worry, pal.
Good stuff.
Okay, so I'm lifting the wheel up this time because it's a pain in the arse to try and turn around and sort of, But here we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Born ready.
Married at First Sight.
Married at First Sight. Yeah, it's been a reality show in the UK that I have been completely unaware of until Channel 4 were, quite frankly, relentlessly, what's the word? They were relentlessly advertising it. And so Chloe and I watched it just on a bit of a whim one night and got massively hooked. Essentially, I think I enjoy it in the same way that you enjoy Love Island, which is semi-ironically.
Yeah, very much so.
But yeah, it's right. The gimmick is that these people meet for the first time and get married, and then after they get married, they are sort of together through they call it an experiment. It's like, oh, these complete strangers that we've matched because we think they're going to get together and be happy together and all this sort of stuff. So won't that be lovely? And then through the course of the experiment, they'll have interactions with these relationship coaches and couples counsellors and stuff. And one of them was a sex therapist, but that never really came up, which was a bit strange. They made like a big deal out of it in the first episode. It's like, this is such and such, she's a sex therapist. Then they never mentioned it again. It was a bit weird. But anyway, essentially, yeah, the gimmick is that two people get married, and then after they get married, they are together, I suppose, for the duration of the experiment. And in the end, they can do a vow renewal ceremony to say, yep, we're definitely together, we're in love, we're a powerful, strong couple, and we're going to stay together, sort of thing.
Right.
That's the gimmick.
Okay.
However, what the show really is 12 people. 6 of them are perfectly normal people, and 6 of them are the worst examples of humanity that you will ever be able to find. It's the most insane nonsense. The best one that comes to mind is there was a couple this year called Luke and Morag.
Morag, what a great name.
Yes, it is a pretty good name, isn't it? She's a terrible person, though. But yeah, Luke and Morag, they had their sort of wedding day, and she comes down the aisle, and they sort of meet at the altar, sort of thing, and they're like, "Hi, I'm Luke. Hi, I'm Morag." All the rest of it. Like, are you nervous? Yeah, I'm nervous too. And they were sort of giggling and laughing and all the rest of it. And it was quite sweet in a strange way, because the only wedding we'd seen before this point in the show was sort of quite a serious one, and the bride came down the stairs, and the husband was like, "Oh wow, you look amazing. Your dress is great," and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And then he came down the aisle, and they were laughing together. It was like, oh, that's quite sweet. And then they got married and did the whole ceremony and all the rest of it. And their families were all interacting, and it was quite nice. And immediately afterwards, there's like a sort of an interview with each of them. Well, I say an interview. You know, in reality shows, they cut to like a talking head of the person. It was a talking head of Morag saying, well, I didn't exactly get what I ordered, did I? Because she provided this physical description to these matchmakers that Luke apparently did not meet. And it's just the strangest thing. She kept telling him, no, you're not my type, I don't find you physically attractive. And then with the next breath, she would be saying things like, I just don't get why you're so self-conscious around me. I just don't get why you can't feel like you can just get into bed and take off your dressing gown and get into bed. I don't see what the problem is, Luke. I don't see why you're being like this. But no, I'm not attracted to you, and I do need to drink a glass of wine for us to have sex. And it's like, what? It's the most insane... This is what I mean! It's Luke is an absolutely lovely bloke. He sort of started the experiment, and he said... It was like a very basic sort of bio type thing, and he was like, "Yeah, well, my previous wife and I have split up recently, and I've been felt quite bad about it, and I felt quite self-conscious and all the rest of it. And I'm looking for love again, and I thought this might be a good thing to have a go with, and it might go well, it might go badly, but I think I'd have a go, sort of thing." And he seems perfectly lovely. You meet sort of a few of their sort of family members and friends and stuff, sort of leading up to the wedding day and these interviews and stuff. And it's like, okay, that's perfectly sweet. I know. That's the thing. The wedding isn't legally binding, which makes the entire thing pointless. Surely.
Yeah, really. I mean, it's
because like for my wedding, which is the first wedding I ever went to, was my own wedding. But at my wedding, Chloe and I stood there and we did the vows and everything, and we exchanged rings. And then we had to go and sign a legal document that said, okay, you are now married.
Yeah.
So it's not an actual legal ceremony. They just stand in a corridor and say, yeah, I will love you, and we'll take this journey together, and we'll do X and Y and all these other things. Okay, great, but it's
kind of like...
It's such a strange thing.
I mean, it's kind of like calling your TV show Deadly Swim and then going to the Glasgow swimming baths for like...
Yes, it sort of is.
But sorry,
so yeah,
continue.
Morag is a terrible example of humanity, and there was a couple of other terrible examples of human beings. There was a girl on it called Nikita, I think. They introduced them all, but everybody is very vapid and forgettable. So it was quite. I struggle with names at the best of times, but these people, like this procession of like 12 people rapidly changing in front of me, and I'm just like, I don't know who any of you are. But yeah, this one Nikita that was again a terrible example of humanity. She was like very rude and blunt and aggressive and very argumentative with everybody that she met.
Oh my goodness!
And it was there was these really strange things like she would be constantly saying to the person that she sort of married, so do I look good today? Do you like my hair? Do you like this? Do you like this? Do you like what I'm wearing and all the rest of it? And he'd be like, yeah, you look lovely, but why do you feel the need to keep asking? You put a lot of effort into what you look like, so surely you must know you look good. Why do you feel the need to keep asking? She took that very personally, and she was like, I don't know why you feel the need to comment on my appearance and that. It's just a joke. I just say it as a joke and all this sort of stuff. It was just, like I say, it's the most insane show because you watch people's personal lives playing out on this intimate, disastrous level. Yeah. It's like a car crash you can't look away from because you sort of you identify all of these personality traits that are flying around like, there's a bit of aggression, there's a bit of stubbornness, there's a bit of funniness and all the rest of it. Mm-hmm. But then they're just combined in this utterly alien way that you can't possibly conceive of. It's really weird. The final one that I wanted to talk about, I'm really sorry. The final one I wanted to talk about was Frankie, who was he was a weird bloke. I think they do this thing where they tell you all about who they are as a person and stuff. And he sort of said he was in the army for ages, then he got out the army and became a personal trainer, and now he runs a personal training business in Dubai or something like that.
Yeah.
And he came over to the UK and did this Married at First Sight thing and got with this lady called Marilise. That was her name.
Sorry, what?
Marilise.
Marilise, okay.
Yeah. And she was perfectly lovely. She had, I say had, I imagine she hasn't died, but she has 2 kids and all these dogs and a nice house, and you sort of meet her friends and her family and her sisters and all this stuff, and everybody seems lovely. And they're all just like, yeah, you want to do this? That's fine, do whatever. But Frankie is like... You can tell if it was 20 years ago he would be a really abusive husband. It's really horrible to watch it play out. Things like he's massively protective. Well, I say protective, it's like protective with air quotes. I can actually do air quotes though because I'm on camera. How brilliant is that?
Oh, I've done
protective, some. Yeah. To the degree that he's like, no, I don't want to talk to these relationship counsellors about our relationship. I think some things are private, and I don't think we should talk about that, Marilise, and all these other things. And it was like... There's this thing called Yes Week, where for a week, one member of the couple has to say yes to everything that the other member of the couple asks them to do, and it's supposed to highlight insecurities and stuff like that. And Marilise said to Frankie, "Will you cook us a meal?" And he was like, "Yeah, of course I will. I'll cook us a meal." But he was like really struggling to to do it. I mean, he was
Yeah.
putting deliberate difficulty onto it, if that makes sense. Like, he was sort of rolling his eyes and sighing and just like, oh, I can't be bothered to do that. Oh my God, this is like... And she said, oh, have you got the Parmesan, Frankie? And he went, oh, for God's sake, no, I haven't. It was like this, the worst, most wounding thing she could have possibly said to him.
Yeah.
Mate, calm it down. And the other thing that got me was, like, they have these regular dinner parties as, like, check-ins on the couples, as it were. And at one of these dinner parties, Frankie was sort of addressing the table and saying something, and Marilyse said, because they handed out these anonymous notes about their relationships, to stir the pot. And she held up the note and said, whoever wrote it, just thanks for writing it, thanks for all the nice things you said, sort of thing. And Frankie turns to her and goes, maybe when I'm speaking, don't speak. And it's like, oh my God, it's like the most controlling, terrifying man that I've ever seen portrayed. It's really horrible, really horrible. And I don't know, it's just, there's something about him where everything is, I don't know, he feels like he'd turn around and smack me if I said I didn't like his hair. I don't know, it's a very strange person. I don't know, it was something about it that really set me on edge. And that's what I wanted to mention, was that Married at First Sight is not, in any circumstances, like a romantic show. It's 6 people meeting 6 of the worst examples of humanity ever. It's utterly bizarre. There's this one bloke who was like, you're a pretty girl. Pretty girls shouldn't use bad language. And it's like, what?
Oh my God.
And, there was this other one, Bob and Megan. Bob was this lovely, lovely bloke. And he was just like, yeah, I've got lots of mates, and I like to, quite a charming guy, and all the rest of it. And he was charming, and he was the nicest person, really, apart from maybe Luke. He was like the nicest person out of this crop of people. Yeah. And he was put together with this person, Megan, who was like perhaps the least likable person out of the entire group. She had this very strange, jarring personality that's just difficult to bear in any meaningful sense.
Yeah.
And she went off and kissed another member of the experiment, and then deliberately hid the truth from him and didn't tell him and stuff. And it's like, it's a bit bad. The reason I want to bring it up is because it's like how you enjoy Love Island. It feels like a weird zoo exhibit that I'm staring at.
Wow, I mean,
it's weird.
This seems like so much better than Love Island, because I only watched Love Island for like the inevitable destruction of people's sanity. But yeah, I mean, do people not realise that people who actually do get married and spend all the time together end up falling out? Never mind people that have just met each other. Like, it's such a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, no, I completely know what you mean. And that's the thing, is like, something you see a lot in the show is it's less about is this marriage doomed to failure or will it succeed? It's more about how effective are these people at communicating their feelings. Yeah. So like, it's that's something that I've noticed personally, is that I am not very good at communicating my feelings, and so you get better at it, and that's how you sustain things, right?
Yeah.
But like, it's absolutely bizarre. These people in the show that are just, it's like watching a child interact with somebody else. This complete inability to sort of express the way they're feeling and what they're saying and all the rest of it. It's really bizarre. Really bizarre.
We'll need to do like a whisper for it next year when it comes out, and react to it in real time, because it sounds mesmerising.
We'll have a watch party for the first episode.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, reality TV, it used to be like, in many ways it's better, but in many ways it's so much worse, because it's so normalised now. Like, I remember seeing a TikTok of it said British TV used to be like so bad, and it was this guy who would like go to these like families, and he's like, this week we're seeing the Jensen family, who are the biggest bunch of fat people I have ever seen in my life. So what the fuck? Yeah. It's just so bad, and it's like you can't even imagine that ever, like,
you can't
being
imagine
allowed.
thinking it, let alone seeing it on the TV.
It's like, oh my God, it's like a guy talking about like cars or something. Like, it's that bad. He's like, these are the biggest bunch of fatties I've ever seen in my life. Like, oh my Jesus, that would just be
cars.
No. It's like he was talking about these people, like cars. like just sort of completely objectifying them.
Oh, I see.
And, like-
yeah, okay. I thought you meant it was like an episode of Top Gear where
No,
halfway through, Jeremy Clarkson turned to the camera and said, "You know what I hate is fat people."
Yeah.
What?
Well, he's probably said that at some point. Neil,
Almost
correct.
certainly has. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was so bad. It was just like it seemed crueler, and yet nowadays it's like they're still doing it, but they're presenting it in a way where less people are complaining about it. If you get me, like these incredible.
Yes. Yeah.
Like in
Because
Love
it's not
Island.
the companies are doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. Like Love Island, for example, it's these incredibly vapid and sort of just incredibly unreliable people sort of saying things that are right and moral, but it's you sort of question whether they have the right to say it because of how shit they are. If you get what I mean, it's like it's
Sort of.
I'm trying to think of an example. Okay, so yeah, so there was this woman called Faye in Love Island this year who lost the plot over this guy called Hugo, who they were talking about things that they didn't like and things that they did like about their sort of partners and stuff, and Hugo said that he didn't like fakeness, and Faye is a person who's had Botox and plastic surgery in her face, and she took that very, very personally and said, you have no idea the amount of social pressure that women are under to get these sort of facial changes and how, you know, stringent they are and stuff. And she's absolutely correct. Yeah. But then, like, a couple of episodes later, she would talk about, like, oh yeah, I bet his dick's small and stuff. Like, just, like, completely, like, just absolutely throwing any sort of integrity down the pan because she doesn't want to be sort of looked at in that way, but throws out judgment after judgment after judgment on people. It's like it just sort of rings hollow in that sense, if you get me.
I do get you. Yeah. Yeah. It's difficult to understand someone's moral point of view in any meaningful way if they don't hold up to it. It's a sort of do as I say, not as I do type situation. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. It drives me off my rocker.
I'm sure.
But yeah, Married at First Sight and...
Mathis.
Yeah, Mathis. I think we've said enough on that for today,
we
Lewis.
Certainly have, yeah.
Yes. So with that, do we have any more bullshit, or would you like to just dive straight into...
Cheeky bit of extra bullshit, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I shall spin the wheel again.
Lovely stuff.
GB News, whatever the fuck that is.
What is it? I don't know.
Well, my understanding is that GB News is a news network.
Wow. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, do you know much about GB News, Lewis?
No, I'm aware it was set up, it was sort of proposed as sort of a right-wing news network, really, which is understandable. It's the kind of thing that exists in the world. But I'm aware there's been some kind of controversy. Nobody seems to watch it. They kicked, what's his face? Andrew Neil, who is an actual journalist. They kicked him off of it for some reason, or he left or something, because it went a bit Fox News-y. It's not news, it's propaganda. But the important thing I think to bear in mind with things like this is that, like, any set of information is essentially propaganda, because you the way in which you tell a story, the way in which you tell facts, sort of will influence the story that those facts tell. Yeah. If I tell you that Danny went to a bar and drank some whiskey and then fell over, so Danny likes to drink. Danny is a drunk. Presumably, that's the story that I'm trying to tell. Yeah. But if I tell you that Danny fell over and it was snowing, and I leave out the part about the story in which he was at a bar, it's, it was icy. Danny, well-known, conscientious man, fell over because it was icy. Do you know what I mean? That's the point I'm trying to get at. So, when you read a news story in The Guardian, it will be presented in such a way that it has slightly more left-leaning views. You read a story in the Daily Mail, and it will have much more right-leaning views.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of the story of the facts that these people at GB News are trying to tell is very right-wing, as I understand it. I think Nigel Farage has like a corner that he presents some kind of news from. So good for him. Who doesn't love a bit of Nige?
Yeah, I mean, fucking no. But I think that I mean, America has its Fox News, and it's, I believe it was sort of created with the sort of intention of it being, there's too many left wing news outlets, so we need a voice in this sea of left wing propaganda, you know. And when I hear that, and when I hear right wing folks say that, I just think, are these people actually like serious? Like the idea that the prevailing view in Western society is a left wing one is like so beyond a joke. Like Fox News, for example, is the largest news network in America. Like, that is what most people watch in America. The BBC, I mean, I'm at a quandary with the BBC because it's a state broadcaster. But if you ask someone on the left, they'll say, it's right-wing propaganda. And yet if you ask someone on the right, they'll say it's left-wing propaganda. It's very sort of... I mean, does that mean that the BBC is impartial? I don't know.
No, I do have trouble with the BBC's impartiality guidelines, because what it essentially means, if followed to the letter, is that, say it's something like, say it's two people and they're arguing about climate change, and they've got somebody that's, I was going to say pro and anti climate change. I was going to say they've got somebody on that's that believes climate change is real, and we can do our best to reverse it and all those sort of things. That person that they get on will be a scientist of some type. It'll be Dr. Jim Jimininus, and he'll be some kind of climate scientist from some university somewhere.
Well-respected scientist. Jim Jiminina.
Yes, of course. And for the sake of impartiality, they have to get someone who doesn't believe in climate change or doesn't believe in Jim's work or whatever. Yeah. But then that people always cares a lot more than Jim does, because he goes on the news and they say to him, well, so what do you think about climate change? And he goes, yeah, it's real. The Earth is getting measurably warmer. It's a concern. Maybe we shouldn't drive cars as much. And then he says these very base level things, because those are facts that you can see on a graph.
Yeah.
But then the anti sort of climate change denier person that's sitting directly opposing him is, all they care about is being anti-climate change. They care about it so massively. They're saying, no, emissions are a massive lie. The carbon that the cars produce, that's not even a tenth of the world's smallest, tiniest pollution. Yeah. Everything is basically fine. That's all they care about, is proving this guy wrong. Whereas the scientist guy cares about science more than he cares about pollution.
Yeah.
So it's not a fair and balanced debate, and it's not independent or impartial. You lean towards whoever gives more of a shit, which is often, because of the sort of emotional nature of right-wing politics, which is often somebody with a more right-leaning viewpoint.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not impartial.
It tends to be very reactionary, and that's what, like sort of Married at First Sight and all these reality TV shows.
Yeah.
That's what people watch for. They watch for the drama. They watch for the sort of impassioned irrationality of people, whether they believe it or not, and that gives rise to these people. Like, even if like everyone that watches right wing media is a hardcore leftist, it's still a win for these reactionary types. You know, it's like if they can get support, great, but it's more about saying it enough times so that people just accept it, or are too fatigued to do battle against it. I mean, it's like, if someone's just denying basic facts and they have a platform to do that over and over and over again, you're just gonna give up. You're just gonna be, oh fuck's sake, I can't argue with you about this anymore. And yet they continue arguing over and over for people to be like, oh, well, the left won't even debate it. It's like, because it's not, you can't debate it because it's not worth debating. It's a distraction. And then, you know, you've lost because you haven't shown up for a fight that's not even a fight, you know? Like the entire consensus is like against it. All medical consensus and scientific consensus points to climate change being real and very dangerous to us. And if someone's just saying no it's not, no it's not, definitely not, and we're too busy arguing with them, it's like, well, you can't fucking win, you know?
It's strange because it's the thing I keep coming back to in these situations is, okay, well, I can't argue with you, so I will just fix the problem myself and hand it to you fixed, and then you can just shut up.
Yeah.
By the time I have fixed the problem, you can just fuck off.
Yeah.
So that's what I keep... I know it's a very childish sort of point of view to get to a point where I just can't be bothered to deal with it, but
yeah.
when you came to my house more recently, you showed me a video of Vorsh debating somebody about something on the internet.
Yeah.
And the thing that I kept coming back to was... he's just a very angry, sad man. You can sort of see in his demeanour he's very angry about what he's having to do and very sad about having to do it.
Yeah.
And the thing that I keep coming back to is why invite that into your life? I don't mean to personally target Vorsh in any way here.
I mean, I think he'll be fine.
Well, yes. But yeah, why bring it into your life? Why not just do what you think is right and then other people that you know to be wrong, because either there's a scientific study about climate change or UBI or anything like that. If you know them to be wrong, it's a self-selecting thing. If after a while they will learn the truth of a fact rather than just going to the emotional side of something. So I don't know. I can't abide the idea of just me sitting somewhere all day and debating with someone about should people be allowed to get jabs if they want to? Yes, obviously they should. I'm not much of a one for debating in great detail these enormous issues, because it always comes down to something that's not unovercomable, but it's something that is not worth arguing about, is what it comes down to at the very heart of it. So all I can say is get your jabs, do your bit to stop climate change, be nice to one another. That's all I can do, is say that and walk away. So
very much so. I mean, it's the whole free speech argument. Like, well, everyone's entitled to free speech, yes, but that doesn't mean that everyone's entitled to a platform to spread the bullshit that they believe in. You know, it's like denying someone to speak on your platform isn't curtailing their free speech. You know,
it's
just not
like
giving
the gay wedding cake thing. Do you remember that?
Yeah, like, I mean, I can't wait. What was?
It was a bakery in the US that refused to bake a cake for a gay couple's wedding. Yeah, and that was like a big freedom of speech thing. Because they were like, well, if they don't believe in gay people getting married, then they shouldn't have to provide their services for it. And it's the same, but reversed. Twitter don't believe that Donald Trump should have a platform on which he can incite hate. Yeah. So we're going to revoke his access to it. It's the same in reverse, really. Yeah, or a white supremacist being denied. Donald Trump. Or another white supremacist denied to speak at a university. You know, it's like you're ruining their free speech. It's like, no, they're just not allowed to say it here. You know, where other people live and work and learn. You know. You're right. It's that's I think the problem with a lot of different free speech laws is they were written before everybody had a platform. Yes. Because if there was no such thing as smartphones, no such thing as Twitter, I would have to just get a box and go and stand on it in the middle of my town and just scream as loudly as I could about UBI and the beneficial effects it can have. So. But now I have Twitter, and I can tweet it out to however many people, and I can Instagram it out to however many people. Yes. And they'll just go, oh, yeah, maybe. Or a massive hate mob will form and hunt me down and kill me. I mean, it could be either. Yeah. No, definitely. But there you go. We spoke a little bit about GB News and more about the broader sort of context of propaganda, I guess. But yeah, that's... At the end of the day, Danny, do you know what propaganda is?
What?
It's when Danny Dyer has a really hard look at something.
Yeah.
There we go. I thought you'd get that in the end. That's one of my favourite jokes.
That's good. I like that. That was good. Yeah, it really is. But I think we're out of bullshit for this week, Lewis.
Yes, we are out of bullshit. Unless you've got anything about Danny Dyer.
He's a tough nut.
He's a person that exists in the world. I know very little about him. I have nothing about Danny Dyer.
Very much so. But here we go. End of segment, I guess.
Yes.
Goodbye until next week. But anyway, here we are to talk about yet another film, Lewis, aren't we?
The way you said that was like yet another fucking film.
Yet another fucking
We're here to
piece
talk
of
about a film. For God's sake, I hate this.
another piece
That
of
was the way you were going
fucking
to go.
filmography from some fucking director written by some fucking writer and starring some fucking actors. Jesus, how predictable. This film is Cruella, and it was written by Dana Fox and Tony McNamara, and was directed by Craig Gillespie, and is starring Emma Stone, Emma Thompson, Joel Fry, Joel McCrea, Mark Strong, and Paul Walter. Get the thing up, Lewis.
Okay, Paul. Right.
There are more people than this, but this is
Paul Walter Hauser.
Yeah, there you go. Boom. Paul Walter Hauser.
Very good.
We're not cutting that out. Do you have an opening statement?
I do. This film has a lot of very good actors in it. However, the only thing I can think about this film is it's like getting all the bits of a sandwich together and going, "Oh, this is some really good artisanal lettuce and some artisanal butter, and some artisanal bacon and tomato because we're making a BLT," and then putting them on a bun, and the bun is made of sadness. It's strange.
Wow.
It's lots of things happen that are either enjoyable to look at or enjoyable to be engaged with, but then there's something about the framing of it all and all of it together.
Yeah.
It's just something about it that just doesn't quite ring right to me. Do you know what? Am I making sense?
Absolutely, you're making sense.
Lovely stuff.
A very bland and have it both ways take on the most despicable character in Disney's roster. You can't be a villain and an anti-hero at the same time.
Yes, that leads me into we'll say this is our first CRQ. It leads me into my great frustration with this film is, and a lot of modern cinema really, is can't we just have people that are cunts? Can't we just have like a villain that's just, oh no, yeah, Glenn Close wants to kill and skin 100 dogs. Full stop.
Yeah,
that's it. She has no ulterior motive.
She just
wants to kill and skin 100 dogs.
She's just an incredibly wealthy, narcissistic arsehole who.
At the end of the day, if you told me Jeff Bezos wanted to kill and skin 100 dogs, I would say,
I believe that.
I mean, that makes sense. I can see that happening.
Fits.
He wants to make a new throne to sit in the Amazon CEO chair. I am God. God Bezos over Amazon.
Amazon, don't you mean Kerblam?
Yes, that thrilling indictment of corporate greed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm gonna start about the things I like first. I really like the fashion of the film. Really great costume design. That's
She worked
it.
on Mad Max Fury Road. The costumier.
Oh, really?
Certainly not a word. Jenny, I'm not sure if it's Bevan or Bevan or Beavan. Jenny, we'll say Bevan. But yeah, she worked on Mad Max Fury Road, which also had some very interesting costume design and stuff, didn't it?
It did.
Did you see that film?
I did, yes. Many moons ago.
What did you think of it?
It was okay. It was a bit.
Yeah. I didn't really like it very much, to be honest with you. It was, like you say, it was okay.
It was okay.
It didn't really have a story, which was quite strange.
No.
A strange thing to say about a film.
Yeah. I mean, well, not really. It depends on the film you watch. You know, what was the groundbreaking plot of Grown Ups? You know.
True. What's Adam Sandler up to in his next Oscar-winning masterpiece?
Oh yeah. Pixels. I think Okay, I'm gonna start laying into this film. Okay, so it's a really cartoonish way to kill off the mum.
Yeah, it is a bit.
What the fuck was that? So, okay, so Ella, who's not Cruella at this point, because and she sneaks in to this party, right? And there's these Dalmatians that are in there that chase her, and the Baroness blows a whistle, and the Dalmatians end up outside, and they look as if they're gonna get Ella, and then they basically jump on Ella's not biological mum, and she falls off of a cliff and dies.
I'm sorry. I know it's a horrible way to die, but it's also quite funny because it didn't actually happen.
Yeah.
Like when I first heard the trailer for this film had come out, and they were like, "Oh, what's her super origin story then?" Oh, her mum was killed by Dalmatians. It's literally the least imaginative way you could possibly say it. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
she hates Dalmatians because her mum was booted off a cliff by them. There is no indication that she hates Dalmatians. It's that she loves Dalmatians' fur and wants to skin them to make a coat out of it. Like, she does that for everything. Like, whatever animal it is, she just likes fur and wants to make coats out of them. She doesn't have a unique hatred of Dalmatians.
No, she doesn't. But it would be quite funny if she just went through life hating every Dalmatian she met.
Oh, imagine she was bit by a Dalmatian and that gave her Dalmatian powers. That would have been
bit by a radioactive Dalmatian.
So fucking stupid.
Has the proportionate strength and speed of a spider. No, a Dalmatian. Oh, fuck!
And so what was the Baroness's endgame there? Like...
Right, yeah.
So the Dalmatians are waiting.
Even consider.
The Dalmatians are waiting inside, right? The mum's standing there, and then when it doesn't go her way, she blows the whistle. The Dalmatians rush outside and basically fucking. They don't even bite her. They just jump on her and push her off a cliff.
Why didn't they couldn't show the dogs as being actually violent in a biting and scratching type way? Because that's the kind of thing that dogs get put down for. So I suppose maybe Disney just couldn't show that in a film. So they were like, oh, no, she has to be pushed off a cliff. Which is ridiculous.
Why didn't the Baroness just do it? Like, I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, because she does it at the end. So
yeah. What did she need her dogs for? Like, wouldn't that draw more attention?
Because Cruella de Vil wants to skin 100 dogs.
I mean, the Baroness is a better Cruella de Vil than Cruella fucking de Vil.
Yeah, that's very true.
Like, Emma Thompson, right, gives an amazing performance as just being a horrible, narcissistic witch who doesn't care about anyone or anything apart from fashion and using whatever she can to get what she wants, right? That's who Cruella de Vil is, right? But they have this weird sort of character art for Ella or Cruella or whatever she decides to be, where they do this weird essentialist thing where she's raised by a really nice woman, but because she's the daughter of a bad woman, the bad is like seeping through, and she can be cruel because she. Is that what Disney's take is on how children are raised? It's like, even if you're raised in a really nice environment, you're still going to be a cunt if you don't have the right.
Be kind and sweet. You'll still be a twat.
It's really weird. And is she even that bad by the end of the film? Like,
no, not really. Not to the killing and skinning 100 dogs level.
No, because is that
especially considering her love for dogs.
Yeah, and she
really likes dogs.
She has 3 Dalmatians by the end of the fucking film. So
yeah,
is it just a complete reimagining of the character, or is it because they had Anita and Roger in there? Like, and it looked as if they were setting up the events before 101 Dalmatians. You know, that's the feeling I got when I was watching it. It's an origin story, but I wish they would have made it more clear.
Yeah, and actually said one way or
And
the
said,
other.
by the way, this has nothing to do with the original story. This is just our take on a character. That would have been just so much better. But oh Jesus, it's
Also, now this is something I thought while I was watching the film. Something I kept coming back to, and I don't. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a good thing either. It plays out like a fan fiction story does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of the story is very convoluted, specifically to hit specific beats of like, oh, Emma Thompson is actually Emma Stone's mum, and Emma Stone's fake mum, not really her mum, gets pushed off a cliff.
Yeah.
It's specifically engineered to hit these beats without really caring what the bits in between are. And I most certainly do not mean to sort of say that fan fiction is inherently bad or anything, because it definitely isn't.
No.
People with a lot of talent are out there writing fan fiction, but sadly sometimes you do have to wade through stories that aren't so great to get to stories that are.
That are, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this feels like a fan fiction that's not so great. It feels like somebody literally had a pen and a piece of paper and wrote down a list of story beats they wanted to hit. And they just thought, okay, how can we hit all of these in one swoop? And they sat there and came up with this really convoluted way to hit all of the bits of story.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It's weird.
It's really weird.
And it's what I was saying before about the sandwich is like, if you asked me to point out things about like a character or a music or something that's inherently bad, I would probably struggle beyond the first couple of bits and bobs, because it's like there's nothing. It's weird. I don't want to say there's nothing bad about the film, because there is, but it feels as though there's not many bad things about the film compared to what I feel like there should be.
Yeah.
If they're putting this little effort into the storytelling of it, and yet, like you say, the fashion is wonderful, and Emma Stone, Emma Thompson, they're always so incredibly engaging to watch.
Yeah, very much so.
So I don't know, it's just weird. It's like this weird cognitive dissonance feeling that I get watching it, of like it's good but it's not good, but it's good but it's not, but it's good, but I really struggle with it to know what I'm doing watching it.
They were really close to getting the sort of villain origin story in the film, because there's a scene where the Baroness is looking out of the window and she realises, or thinks she realises, that Cruella has killed her dogs and made a coat out of them. Like, if you were doing a reimagining and like making the character evil, that would have been so much better. And it was like, oh, she's worse than... But then she hasn't killed the dogs. The Baroness just thought she did, and then went and said, yeah, I'm going to kill you now, and is saved in a fire that she still... Like, it's so weird. Like, there was another bit... Oh yeah, okay, so the idea that the Baroness can't tell that Cruella is Ella, like, what, is she just fucking stupid? Like, I hate when films do this. Like Clark Kent with his fucking glasses. Like, Jesus Christ.
There are lots of bits about how it's explained away, but I always think, but come on, you'd at least think they have they look similar. They look like very similar people.
Yeah.
Bits about how he compresses his spine and changes the colour of his eyes and all sorts, but it's like, well, I wouldn't really look at someone's eye colour to determine if they're the same person. It's about just the vibe, I suppose, and I don't suppose you can disguise the vibe in a weird way.
Yeah, very much so. Sympathy for the devil at the end, obviously, because why not? That's another thing that didn't do this film justice. There's so many songs in the film, and it felt a bit overkill. Its whole soundtrack was other songs, and it just felt a bit sort of unoriginal, you know.
Which is it's a shame, because I enjoy movie music, really, sort of the music that people have composed for a film.
Yeah,
it's good. People enjoy it. People do it because they enjoy doing it. And there's an art form to it, and it's wonderful to listen to it. I listen to it. It's essentially my entire playlist I listen to when I'm working. That is music from movies that I listen to, and then sort of it's there in the background, and it's present but not present, and it influences your mood in tiny little ways. And there's something amazing to be said for cinema, sort of movie music, but to just not say anything and to just go for other songs is a really weird choice. It's the same mistake that Suicide Squad fell into, the original one.
Yeah.
Just because it was like, didn't David Ayer take a massive pay cut so that they could use all these famous songs?
Yeah, that's right.
Really weird things about, like, well, yeah, but
I mean,
shouldn't you put that money into the writing rather than the music?
No, absolutely. The CGI dogs are, yeah, they're pretty bad. The original film had the dogs trained, which I'm still in awe of how they managed to do that.
Yeah.
It was just so much better. But I suppose you can't really train dogs to jump at someone so they fall off a cliff without falling themselves. Like, what?
No, yeah, it's yeah. Well, I mean, working with trained dogs is always a wonderful thing, isn't it? Because it's just they're such good dogs, and it's. Go on.
Would Cruella want to stay with the dogs and live with the dogs that killed her mum?
That's a really good point that I didn't even consider. I suppose the dogs didn't know what they were doing. I suppose maybe that's the way that Cruella thinks. They were manipulated by Emma Thompson. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. It just when you look at the trailers of this film, it looks almost like Disney's like Joker, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Like that was what was speculated, and people were like, I hope this isn't a sort of girl boss sort of thing where, yeah, girl, you skin those puppies. Which I suppose it wasn't. It was more about someone who's an anti-hero, but the character is so associated with just skinning puppies. Like, I don't like. There are some characters that don't need to sort of like, oh, she's just misunderstood. She just, so bad. It's like, no, she's just a horrible person who
she
remembered that she had a schoolmate who had Dalmatians and was like, yeah, I'm going to skin these fuckers.
Not very nice in a weird way. It's a strange character to pick to do a sort of a grey origin story for, because to be honest, to some degree, I'm getting sick of grey origin stories.
Yeah,
I'm getting sick of grey characters to some extent.
Yeah,
I just kind of want some characters to be a bastard.
Yeah,
it's like, he's just mining for oil for money, and he's killing people to get more oil. Okay, he's just a bastard.
Yeah,
I prefer that in a strange way to he's morally grey, and he is, but he's doing it to feed his family. So is it really worth? And he donates a lot of money, and he volunteers at a soup kitchen.
Look,
I don't care. Let me hate him.
Why are people so afraid of like seeing characters fail? And like Tony Soprano. Tony Soprano's a great example. Just he fails. He becomes miserable. He's a horrible, irredeemable bastard that deserves what he gets. It's really as simple as that for some people.
Yeah.
And it should be like that for Cruella de Vil, but I guess Disney wanted something different.
Yes. It's one of this grey villain origin things. It's one of the things I hated about Snape in the Harry Potter books and movies.
Yeah.
This has only really come into my mind because I'm drinking out of a Harry Potter cup. Which, by the way, fuck J.K. Rowling. But also
very much so. Who's that?
Fuck
who?
Who? Sorry. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Fuck that theoretical person that exists.
Yes.
Yes. But anyway, it's one of the reasons I hated Snape, because it's right at the start of the story. It's like he's just really cruel to children, and he's sort of he threatened to kill a child's pet in return for making a poison potion not very well or something. He's not a good character. You can't have a redeemable character. You can't redeem a character that's so terrible all the time. I don't know. It's like if he hadn't been in love with Harry's mother, he would have just become a wizard racist.
Yes! That's what I was going to say. It's like the only reason that he stopped being a Death Eater was because his boss killed the person that he loved. And if that's like what gets you out of being an arsehole, then you're not now an arsehole.
I mean, he's not a complex character at all. It's just he's a bastard.
Yeah.
And I don't like him, but I enjoy not liking him because
Yeah.
I like watching the stories, and he's a bastard, and I'm going, okay, good, yes,
Yeah.
and I enjoy disliking him. But then it's have my tears, put them in these little vials. Oh,
I mean,
fuck off, Severus Snape.
I mean, maybe it would be a bit better if it was like, yeah, he believed in it, and then someone that he loved was killed because of it, and then he realised that way of thinking was outdated and ridiculous, and became a good person. But like, he was
sort of
still an
to his senses, and he was like, oh Jesus, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but he was still an arsehole like, throughout his entire. Like, I guess he was pretending to be a death. I don't know, but I mean, yeah, it's just let some characters be arseholes.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Stop trying to like, give them every consideration. Some people just do bad things because they enjoy doing bad things or are malevolent or, there are explanations, but
not excuses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. There is an explanation as to why someone would want to skin a bunch of innocent puppies, right?
What we were talking about.
But
Cruella,
there is
like,
not.
what?
Yeah, there is not an excuse for it though. It's not. Dalmatians killed my mum by throwing her off a cliff somehow. So now I will skin puppies that had nothing to do with that event. Like, what? Yep. No. Come on. But yeah, yeah. I mean, it was.
I think I'm out of notes now, Cocker.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
I'll ask one more question before I go. Glenn Close or Emma Stone?
I just like Glenn Close.
Yeah.
Glenn Close.
I
do enjoy some of Emma Stone's performances.
Yeah.
But I just like Glenn Close too.
Glenn Close's sort of manic, horrible performance in the original film, you can't top that. That is like iconic stuff.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. Do you have a closing statement?
I do. Yep. I couldn't find it. This film it had a lot of potential, but it didn't need to be made, and you could tell that everybody involved thought that. So it was sort of strange to watch, strange to deal with, a very weird film that I wasn't a big fan of.
Yes. Mine's is get those puppies before they kick your mum off a cliff. That's my one.
Get the puppies before they kick your mum off a cliff. That's
always
good advice.
You better skin them before they kick your mum off a cliff.
Quick.
Quickly!
They want to do it. They're Googling where she lives now. Oh. They're on Facebook. They're trying to find her location.
Oh no, the whistle's been blown. Oh,
it's too late.
That whistle,
you can't skin them now.
Only the Dalmatians can hear, and Ella's dog can't hear from inside a house.
That's a very good point. Yeah,
like I don't know, 50 feet away. Like Jesus. Oh my God. Okay, yeah. Let's do some shilling now because this is. We all have Linktrees. Lewis's Linktree is linktr.ee/Lewis_Brindley. Mine's is /O'Hiram. And the podcast is /Shouting Into the Void. There you will find our... 2 seconds.
This is better be good. I'm not cutting this out.
You just hold your horses. I'll get there.
My horses.
Don't worry. Oh, okay.
We're having trouble, Danny.
No, we're fine. Okay, so the podcast is /Shouting Into the Void. There you will find our Facebook, our Instagram, our YouTube, all sorts of shit. Go have a look, give us a like, give us a follow. Boom. We have a PayPal donate button, so anything you can spare, anything at all would be greatly appreciated. We also have Patreon, and we want to take the opportunity, as we do every single week, to thank our wonderful, wonderful patrons. Chloe.
Thank you.
Darius.
Thank you.
Peter.
Thank you.
Aditya.
Thank you.
Natalie.
Thank you.
And Dougie.
Thank you, one and all. You allow us to keep on making this podcast and keep complaining about films. So thank you for putting us through films that we didn't like very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We also have merch on Teespring and Redbubble. We sell tote bags, jumpers, socks, mugs, all sorts of stuff. Get yourself something nice because, you know,
Treat yourself.
you deserve it.
You do. It's Halloween coming up. Get yourself a Halloween present. A sock.
Yeah, a Halloween...
And another one comes for free.
Yeah. So, buy one, get one free. And last but certainly not least, we are partnered with an amazing company called Number 12 Crochet Avenue, and Lewis is going to say some wonderful things about them, all of which are true.
Indeed I am. Number 12 Crochet Avenue is a wonderful company run by my wonderful wife in which they crochet, and they're very, very good at it. And if you'd like to get up to date with all sorts of crochet things and stuff and aesthetically pleasing pictures, you can go to at Number 12 Crochet Avenue on Instagram, give them a cheeky follow, give them a cheeky like, do all the cheeky things, and cheekily get on with your day with an enhanced Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that was...
That's it, Danny.
Cruella de Vil. Cruella...
I don't like the song. I'm going to be honest, I don't like the song.
No, but listen, it's all about providing grey morality to the guy who wrote that song.
Apparently so.
Yeah. Whatever that means. Okay, so we've done Cruella, and shall I say what we're doing next week, Lewis?
You should.
Okay.
I would insist that you do.
Are you ready? Are you ready for this?
Yes, born ready.
No Time to Die.
Dan, no time to fucking die. My alarm's just gone off. I'm late for work.
Oh shit, I've got no time to die this morning. Oh no.
For fuck's sake.
We're going to be doing that quite a lot, so you've got that to look forward to. Yeah, it's a new James Bond film that's recently come out in the cinema, so we're going to watch it, and we're going to tell you what we think about it. And more importantly, what we don't think about it by talking about something that has nothing to do with what we're actually talking about.
Yeah, that's our best thing.
Yeah.
That's our gimmick.
It's the best gimmick. So look forward to that, and we will see you, hear you, smell you. I was going to say skin your dogs, but we're not going to do that. There is there is no reasonable explanation as to why anyone would do that.
What we're going to do is we're going to provide grey morality for Danny by next week.
Yeah.
And that'll be everything. That'll be what we'll do by next week.
Why did he shit in the sink? There's an explanation, but there's not an excuse.
God fucking damn it, Danny, you keep shitting in sinks.
I'm a morally grey character, okay? You just don't know my story yet.
I just love shitting in sinks.
Glenn, this is a court order. You can't eat shit anymore. Dun, dun, dun. But yeah, thanks for watching, folks, and we'll see you next time.
Indeed we will. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.
Goodbye.